Okay, so I just got back today, like a couple hours ago, maybe at most. Kill that yawn. Bad yawn, go away. Speaking of bodily functions that went away, I had a sneeze like this whole time that I was there, that whole time on the way there and on the way back. And I finally got to sneeze like 3 whole good times when I got here. Um, so yeah, I just got back from visiting with the family and seeing the place that I was planning to live. And the saying, I said it wrong the last time I said. I was fortunate to hear somebody else say it properly. It's uno uno pone y Dios dispone, something like meaning you can make. Yeah, I don't know how to translate that to English, but it's not uno hace Dios deshace. That's a little, Old Testament. God will destroy everything you make type bullshit, and that's not what the saying is. So vlog number 2. It was a good trip. I made the realization that I don't have enough money. Ah, I hate that that's what the realization is. I really do. It means I have to work more in the capitalist system, not just the work that I plan to do, feeding myself. Accumulate wealth is what I have to do. Oh, God, I hate even hearing it. So I have to accumulate wealth because I don't have enough money to get by over there. And just in general in this country, my bus passage, it was easy money to make when I was working, getting paid like, $12 an hour for permaculture work. $12 an hour, up from like $10 an hour I think I started at. So those are the types of levels that I was working with and I was used to, and I thought, I can just disconnect from the system and focus on generating real wealth and real resources, and live off the surplus. Unfortunately, you have to buy into that system too. I saw a lot of things that need to get done. The house in itself is in disrepair. Doors need to be changed, windows need to be changed. The walls need to be redone. The floors need to be redone. The ceiling is falling in. Basically, short of breaking everything down and just destroying the building, everything else needs to get done. Aside from that, a gate needs to be put in place and a fence around the perimeter. Now, fences are not always necessary. Walls, in this case, are not always necessary. But in this case, it is, and they are. The property has been left alone for a long time, and there was a lot of trash. There was like needles from people. One uncle said, or great uncle, or not great uncle, an uncle of my father's, sort of, half uncle of my father's. Anyway, a relative of some sort. One of the uncles said it was because of the cows. One of the neighbors there has cows, so it's likely that they used it to inject the cows. Another one said that people use drugs there, and it's a town, it's not a village. Population estimate is over like 10,000 people, maybe. Uh, Maybe not that many, but still, it's a considerably sized town. So yeah, so there's trash, all sorts of stuff that got blown in, people dumped, random stuff like that. That's trash that needs to be dealt with. And then a fence would prevent any more stuff from accumulating there. Also, chickens. The neighbor's chickens went in and ate some of the fruit that was falling off the tree there. There was, I think, dog shit. You know, what to reduce that to as minimal as possible. Um, there was like some cow droppings, I think, maybe goat droppings, some sort of herbivore. And that's good. That's fine. But those are things that need to get done, as well as digging a well, installing a pump and a water tank, maybe a solar panel or two, maybe a whole array. Electrical work needs to get done. Internet could be installed, so that's a luxury, electricity and internet, but I'm going up the ladder of things that need to get done. Yeah. I mean, if there was a wall around the entire perimeter, and a secure door and everything, I wouldn't mind living in a place that's falling apart. I mean, the ceiling's falling in here. I'm fine with that. And I'm living here. But I think a fence wall around the perimeter, I would be able to, go out in my underwear and just tend to the trees or whatever in the heat, because it's gonna get hot as hell. I wouldn't feel self-conscious about going out and peeing on a compost pile or something like that. Which, if you're not a permie or, a person who has a background in, organic gardening, you don't understand why a human would pee in their compost pile. You can look that up. The short end of it is nitrogen and about 80% of the minerals that plants need for growth are contained in human urine. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained and haven't condensed my thoughts before blogging like this. Again, another sneeze. Alright. At least it came out, right? Right, so those are things that need to get done, which means I gotta work, which means I'm back to square one. It's really a letdown. I mean, I have no doubt that I can find work and, do well at it. I've always been told I'm a good worker by all places but one. Fuck that one place. And then there was a time when I was medicated that I wasn't very good at working because I was medicated and slower and dumber, and everything was just less than optimal. Um, but on average, good reviews from my employers, especially Jane, who I was employed with the longest. And yeah, so back to what I learned on this trip before my time runs out, and hopefully it'll cut me off after I get some of this across. Some of the things I learned were, there's mixed opinions about use of pesticides. Apparently, most people there use pesticides. Most people prefer the use of pesticides. One of my uncles, let's just stick with uncles, said that he prefers not to, and he doesn't have much of a problem with weeds, pests, as far as cultivating beans, and that's pretty much what I predicted, what I believed, what my background in permaculture or ornamental horticulture, organic gardening has led me to believe, is that you have less problems with organic, believe it or not. And then another thing that I learned was that people still have really antiquated notions about things, and I would just stick out like a sore thumb if I started to voice my opinions or views on the matter, or the matters maybe. People believe in like witchcraft and hexes or curses or you know ghosts and that sort of thing. Things that are like, even when they were part of my childhood, are such a minuscule part of my beliefs that they could be said to not be not included. And yeah, then there was pests. We started to discuss pests. Um, there's a tank. There's like a, they called it a black pit. It's a cement container that's buried into the earth that used to have a toilet over it. So it's basically like a sewage pit, literally. Um, and I said, oh, you could use that as fertilizer. My uncle, one of my uncles said, you can't use that as fertilizer. You're gonna, it's bad for the fruit, bad for the tree. One example he used was that he had a similar tank, similar pit dug in the back of his property, and there was a mango tree, and that his neighbors had another one on their side of the wall, and there was there was the same mango tree on his side. The fruit from that mango tree ended up getting pests, in particular, little wormy maggot looking things inside the fruit. He said, well, how do they get in? They happened because the sewage contaminated the fruit. I don't like fighting with people, and sometimes it seems like I'm fighting with people when I try to convince them of something that they are not seeing or not informed about, and so I just didn't even bother. He gave another example. The waters in where my grandmother lives. I got to see my grandmother too. The nanchis, one of these fruits, is little orange, yellow yellow fruits on a tree. They're really tart, acidy, and they have a little pit. Um, yeah, he said, I brought up, oh, hey, that had maggots in it too, or worms in it too, that was near sewage too, but it was up the hill. It wasn't contaminated by it. And he said, oh, it still happened because it was close to it. The roots got the stuff and it got contaminated. So I just think back to, ancient China. The rice paddies were fertilized with raw sewage. They were literally fertilizing with raw sewage. And it didn't result in any disease to the plant, the seeds, the grains, or the people who consumed those grains for hundreds, thousands of years. And I know that, humanure is a viable concept. You let the waste decompose with added carbon for, about a year, and then you can use it as compost around your fruit trees. So I know that that's not, whatever. I mentioned the urine thing earlier. I've eaten fruit from a tree that I've personally fertilized with urine for about a year, and the avocados were fucking great, actually. It did a lot of other fertilizing too, worm compost and crushed eggshells, because when I wanted it to keep more of the fruit, ended up harvesting like over 100 avocados from just that one tree, and it wasn't even that old of a tree. But my point is that the urine did not detract from the quality or health of the fruit. And in fact, the worm compost is worm excrement. It's worm feces and whatever approximate of sewage the worms generate. So it's something I would like to be able to explain to somebody. We are designed to coexist with this system. Civilization has just detached us from it. I'm at 18 minutes now, so it's probably a good time to cut this vlog short. I have more to talk about, but I'm tired. And I should get some rest. I'm not even going to shower. I'm just going to sleep. I'll wake up tomorrow, clean myself, and upload this. Yeah.